Gesundheit. Ooh. The Grinch!
We interrupt this program to bring you...
All right, everybody, my name is Kevin.
And I'm John.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Julie.
And we are The Real Movie Guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Real Review, the series where we review and discuss all your favorite movies. And ladies and gentlemen, it's December. You know what that means. Real Christmas. Real Christmas is a special event where we take a look at all your favorite holiday movies, and on today's episode, we're taking a look at How the Grinch Stole Christmas. On the outskirts of Whoville live a green, revenge-seeking Grinch who plans to ruin Christmas for all the citizens of the town. Okay, guys, I know a lot of people have a pretty big nostalgia factor for this movie. It came out in 2000. Obviously, it's based off the 1960s animated Grinch movie, based off the actual famous Dr. Seuss Grinch book. I gotta tell you, watching this movie, I have a lot of mixed emotions. When it initially came out, even as a young person, back in the day, I'll say, I wasn't a fan of it, and even rewatching it now, I'm still not a huge fan of this movie. I always wonder why this movie exists. I feel like, in my opinion, it doesn't really add anything to the actual Dr. Seuss story. If anything, it just inflates it to an hour and 44-minute runtime that I just really didn't need, considering I could probably watch this as a short for 30 minutes and get what I want out of it. That all being said, I know the main attraction of this movie is Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey is phenomenal facially in this movie. I mean, his facial reactions are absolutely stupendous. This is an achievement in makeup that they do with the Grinch character. But at the end of the day, I still feel like it's Jim Carrey, and I don't feel like it's the Grinch. I'm going to be honest, guys, I did not have a great time with this movie. So before we jump into some other things and start to discuss this, and you all tell me while I'm wrong, Adam, why don't you kick us off? What do you think?
I love this movie, and you're wrong. This movie's great. I enjoy this movie. I love all of the one-liners, just the interactions with all of the Who's and the Grinch, and it's just a very fun time, I think.
Yeah, I just wish I could be there with you. I guess I understand the attraction to this movie, but I don't see it. And again, we'll talk more about it. We're definitely going to dive deeper. So, John, how about you? What did you think of How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Man, I think you're definitely wrong with your opinion.
Oh, boy.
You always talk about my opinion, but this opinion, out of this world, terrible. The Grinch is one of those. The Grinch is one of those movies that I have to watch every single year. It's just that good. I just love Jim Carrey. I know the story could be shut down to 30 minutes, but that's for any movie we could talk about every day. We talk about movies that could have been shut down after 30 minutes. But this movie, I feel like it's a very good movie. I always have to watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know I'm probably the odd man out on this one. I didn't think you would be the one also to put me out there. But again, it's nice to be surprised every now and then. But yeah, I have my reasons, and I want to talk about it so we can bounce back and forth about it. But we'll definitely talk about it. Julie, I know you're chomping at the bit already. Why don't you go ahead and yell at me too?
I'm so glad that Adam and John are on the right side of this opinion here. Yeah, am I wearing a little bit of nostalgia glasses or goggles? Sure. But I really do love this movie. Like John said, I have to watch this every Christmas season. Again, I loved it as a kid and I've continued to love it. Even Adam was saying the one-liners. Every time I watch this, I find so many other little jokes, whether it's like the label on like one of the mailboxes at the post office or something small. I'm like, oh, that was pretty funny. So you catch little in jokes that you might not have gotten the first time. And Jim Carrey, he was a powerhouse. Not only his facial expressions, but the physicality. I'm watching him like skulk around. I'm like, his posture must have been screwed up after this movie for a while. It's just a fun time. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I guess I can understand why people do enjoy this movie. We'll talk a little bit about like what I think does work with this movie, and I think a lot of it is just the practicality that's actually in this movie. I do really love the set pieces. I do think they're absolutely phenomenal. Ron Howard, famous director Ron Howard, which is really weird saying that he directed How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He really, brought in the best people to actually work on this film. The makeup for Jim Carrey is next level. He's kind of, you still know it's him, but you can also just see like he brings the Grinch character to life with his smile, his eyes, his mannerisms, his body movements. Jim Carrey is a famous comedic actor, and we've seen him do so many great things like Liar Liar, Ace Ventura, all these other great movies where he uses his physical and facial features. And it's interesting that they were able to translate that in the Grinch with the makeup, because again, his face contorts with his expression, and you don't realize how important that is until you actually see it on screen, which what could have been done today and probably would have been done with like CGI and whatnot, they actually did physically, and it makes a huge difference, and it really does bring the character to life. And I will take that away from it. I do think that's impressive, and like I said before, I think the set design's beautiful too. It reeks of Christmas, right? It really does. It really brings Whoville to life. I think the color palette's brilliant. I think it's amazing. I do think the Who's are a little creepy at times, and maybe we could have just done something a little different, maybe with some of the facial consistency there. They're just a little strange, especially Cindy Lou who just apparently has no nose for whatever. She just has she's just a normal person. Everyone else is
They make a comment about it.
Yeah, you gotta grow into your nose.
Yeah, the mayor said you haven't grown into your nose yet. So, and they do all in the illustrations have those little upturned noses.
No, they do, and she does have a little nose too. So I'm not gonna take it away. But again, just making an observation here. Taylor Momsen, who would go on to be the lead singer of Pretty Reckless, which is a hardcore rock emo band. She was in Gossip Girl. This is like one of the only movies to her credit, and good for her, because I don't think I'd want to hear her sing Where Are You Christmas anymore, because I hate that song. Oh God, I do not like that song. That goes for a lot of the music in this movie. I think it's fine. I think the score is actually pretty well done for this. It does feel very magical, very almost Tim Burton-y, right? I kind of got like a Tim Burton-y kind of vibe from the score in this movie. But it does match. It does match like this kind of darker Grinch character, which is kind of where I circle in. And this is kind of what I want to hear from you. I don't necessarily like the portrayal of the Grinch being like this kind of like super gross. Like, I understand he's supposed to be mean-spirited and hate the holiday, but whenever I watch this movie, and especially with the way they try to develop the plot, I feel like the Grinch just hates the Who's. He doesn't necessarily hate Christmas. Like, his whole issues are just with the Who's and how they treated him. He has zero interest with really... Christmas is kind of just a means to an ends to bother the Who's. I don't know if I necessarily like that angle of storytelling. Adam, what do you think on that?
I think that I don't know, it's all just connected. It seems like,
Sure.
He doesn't like Christmas because, the of what has happened to him in his past, but he hates the Who's because they celebrate Christmas. So it's all kind of just like interconnected.
Right.
So it seems like your dislike is a little misplaced.
Oh, dislike misplaced. Okay. I could see that. So then my problem comes with the way they develop the plot, which is maybe the bigger issue. So essentially in the short, it just really is the Who's are celebrating Christmas, and the Grinch comes up with this terrible idea. I'm going to ruin Christmas for them. I'm going to go down, ruin it for them, yada, yada, yada. In the meantime, in this movie, I guess we needed something to fill in that hour and 44-minute runtime. We get a whole backstory about little parachute things dropping the Grinch off to a family of two moms, and him being raised into this little boy who's just misunderstood because he has a beard. And we get a little subplot where this girl kind of likes him, and the mayor of the town, who's played by Jeffrey Tambor, which is hilarious. So I'll give the movie that Jeffrey Tambor is actually in this movie. They make fun of him. He gets really mad about it. He goes to live in a mountain, and then Cindy Lou's like, "Oh, hey, I heard about the Grinch. I should invite him to be like the national whatever he is. What is he called? The holiday maker or something. Whatever it is. They bring him down."
Holiday Cheermeister.
Holiday Cheermeister, excuse me. They bring him down for that. We have a whole nother is he going to be good, or how are they going to ruin it? Oh, they ruined it, and now he's going to go ahead and go with the whole plot for Christmas. Guys, that's too much for me. I'm sorry. It's just way too much. I did not need all this backstory about the Grinch. I don't need to have like the Grinch origin story, if you will, tied into this. And it felt like a waste of time. Adam, I'll start with you, and then we'll get everyone's opinion. Do I have any credibility there with that? I just feel like it's too much.
I can see where you're coming from to a certain extent.
I'll take that. I've gotten worse.
I think that because I mean, for me, it's enjoyable to see all that backstory, and it's because it makes the movie like there's your plot, there's your character growth right there, and that's why I think it's integral to this movie specifically. But I guess if you're looking for just because obviously the whole backstory and the love interest is not in the original story at all,
right?
So I can see where that any kind of an issue with that would come up.
And I'm not trying to be a purist either. I don't want that to come across. I'm not trying to be like, oh, it's not my Grinch. How dare you do that? I just don't think it's very well executed. And part of the problem to that, and this is, again, my opinion, Jim Carrey is so damn good. He kind of just sucks. Any other life that's in the movie can't exist because he's that damn good. If he's not on screen, I'm really not interested in this movie. Which the movie does, for the most part, try to keep him on screen. But as soon as he's not there and we're just hanging out with the Who's, I was ready to turn this movie off. I just was not having a great time with their little subplots and whatnot. John, how about you? So I have any credibility?
0. You lost all credibility for me. You start knocking a movie based on people's noses. That's what the best you're coming up with. You don't like the backstory. No, I mean, I disagree, but you're right to your wrong opinions as usual. But I thought
to my wrong opinion.
That's right, 100%. But I felt like if we took away the whole entire backstory of everything, it would make less sense to you than it would originally. And there would be even more holes that you would be like, oh, see this and that. And I feel like it's when you take a story that's based on like a 30-minute, say, cartoon or even just a book based on it, there's so much things that different directors want to add and stuff. So I feel like that tells their own story. And it doesn't just make it like the same old Grinch story each time.
Right. And I can understand changing things to try and, update it for modern audiences and, you have a vision and whatnot. I can understand that. But I think just less is more, in my opinion. I think a better Grinch story is told with less information, just kind of wondering what happened. I don't know if I necessarily needed to be told everything that happened to the Grinch and how he kind of came to be in Whoville. And I guess maybe that's also part of Dr. Seuss's writing in general, where his writing is so imaginative. I don't know if I need to have an answer to it, which seems to be, in my opinion, also a lot of issues with modern day film where they feel the need to have to answer every single backstory, every single question. I don't need that. I like a little bit of mystery. And again, like Dr. Seuss's stories kind of leave your imagination to wonder why and what happened. And again, I think How the Grinch Stole Christmas, this iteration, kind of steals that away in some ways. I think it does take it away. Julie, how about you? What do you think?
The only thing I'll give you with the backstory, and I hate picking on kid actors, but I really don't like the kid that plays young Grinch.
Yeah.
A lot of his line delivery is just super cringy. Like, I hate when he's building the little tree. He's like, oh, Martha, you're going to love this. Like, it's just so cringy. Christmas. So I hate that whole part of the back, but you need it because then I feel like the payoff when he is doing the holiday jubilation or whatever. And of course, he's like begrudgingly doing all of these, fun activities like the fudge dudge and the little chair cheer. But then by the end of it, you can see he's actually like having a good time and he seems to be warmed by it. And then, of course, when the mayor makes fun of him again, on all of those feelings just come rushing back. And he's like, who was I to think that the Who's would change? I was right in feeling this all. And then he goes on his, spiral. So I really felt bad for him in that moment because again, like I felt like there was that glimmer of hope for him, and then it just gets dashed away, and that's why he resorts to that extreme plan. Do you need that? No. When you're comparing it to the original, of course not. But when you're making it a feature film, you need to have some kind of storyline there to propel him forward.
Absolutely. No, I can agree with that.
Yeah, so I felt like it was necessary. And like I said, to see him get burned again by the Who's was kind of upsetting. You do feel bad for him where you're like, all right, yeah, maybe they need a little bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the existence of it. It's just I don't necessarily think it needed to be there. And I think that's kind of what takes it away.
I think that it works for the story that they're trying to tell with this movie.
Okay, how so? Would you say that you think it works? Like, what do you think it brings?
Jesus, man.
What? We're having a discussion. Jeez.
Because they're trying to show you, Yes, I will agree that a lot of times I don't need that backstory. There's tons of moments where I don't need backstory on things, But with this one, I think it works because of, like I said earlier, the character growth, and it gives me the reasoning why things are transpiring the way that they are. It gives me reasoning as to why the Grinch is the way that he acts around Christmas time.
Yeah, and again, I can understand its existence, and there is something to be said for character growth. I do like, in a weird way. I know this kind of like, kind of poo-poos away everything I kind of just said. I do like the one thing that they do with the Grinch, where he'll quote the actual story throughout the movie, and he kind of just does it like begrudgingly, almost. Like, he really hates talking about it. Like, he hates rhyming. He makes like
when he
a whole scene
realizes,
about it.
I'm speaking in rhyme.
And even when he does the line, it's kind of just like, blah, 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 my heart grew two sizes, blah, blah, blah. God, like kind of like rolling his eyes that he has to say it. And I kind of like that. I wonder, maybe I would have enjoyed it more if it was like more of a fourth wall breaking kind of style of story with that, where he kind of like acknowledges I'm in a story and whatnot, and that's kind of what they're going with. Because again, I understand, again, the creation of this movie. It's just, I guess it just wasn't for me. I didn't really see it. Besides,
He does break the fourth wall quite a few times.
Not enough. I don't think, for me.
I think Kev would have been happier if this movie, if there was just a Grinch up top of the mountain and there was a big avalanche that just took out Whoville. Kevin would be like, "That's my kind of Grinch movie."
Hey, it would have been over. No, but again, I got to give props where props are due. I think this movie is an achievement, even if I don't necessarily enjoy it that much. I think this movie is a visual masterpiece that a lot of movies should try to emulate. I think when they do the setting and, as far as the makeup design and everything like that, this movie really is phenomenal. Maybe the story is just too out of the box for me as far as a Grinch story, but overall, I do think there is something to be commended there. So that all being said, let's bring in our final scores. I'm going to give How the Grinch Stole Christmas a 6.8 out of 10.
You hate Christmas. You're gonna steal it. Saving Christmas was a lousy ending. Way too commercial. Action! Brilliant! You reject your own nose because it represents the glitter of commercialism. Why didn't I think of that? Cut, print, check the gate, moving on.
Again, it's not really for me. It's just something I don't particularly enjoy. I think the story just doesn't lend itself well to be kind of expanded like this, in my opinion. But I understand others that do enjoy it and do have a great time with it. Jim Carrey is just a charming-ass man who can make you laugh by doing the simplest of motions. And the fact that they're able to bring to life such a crazy character with a combination of makeup and his genius as far as comedy direction is impressive. And the movie really leans on that. If you take out Jim Carrey out of the movie definitely would suffer. This would be a completely different movie, and I think it's only really successful because of Jim Carrey and his performance, minus the obviously really well done executed sets. But again, I just wish it was maybe a little bit shorter, maybe a different direction, but I'll give it its props. I do think it's a fun time, and I understand why it's a Christmas classic in most households. Maybe not to the original of the original animated classic, but I think it understandably, I get why people are attracted to it. Adam, how about you? What do you think of this one?
I'm going to give How the Grinch Stole Christmas an 8.4 out of 10.
Alphabetically. Aardvarkian, Abacanesia who? I hate you! Aaron B. Benson who? I hate you. Hate, 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 hate. Double hate. Loathe entirely.
I love this movie. I really like it a lot. It makes me laugh every single year I watch it. It is absolutely a staple in my household. I really enjoy Jim Carrey as a Grinch. I think his mannerisms, just the way that he talks, his facial features, they just really embody what I see as the Grinch. And then all the antics that happen in the movie, they really capture Whoville for me. So I think that the movie really works.
Yeah. All right. And again, I can respect that. Again, I do think Jim Carrey, just only his face could bring such a character to life out of a story.
Totally
like
agree.
That. And it is meant to be commended. So I can agree with you there. John, how about you, man? What do you think?
I give The Grinch an easy 9 out of 10.
Yes! Down a size and a half! And this time, I'll keep it all.
Great movie. Great. I like the story. I enjoy Jim Carrey. Amazing acting in this movie. And I like their noses too.
You're not gonna let
Bah
that go, are
humbug.
you?
No, bah
The
humbug.
noses brought it from an 8.9 to a 9.
Oh God, I can't. Again, I can understand. I know there's a lot of enjoyment, and it's probably what we like to call a Kevin problem here on this channel when he doesn't like something that most people do tend to like. But again, that's kind of what I think. But I respect it. I always respect the different opinions here. Julie, how about you? What do you think of this one?
I'm gonna give How the Grinch Stole Christmas an 8.2 out of 10.
My schedule wouldn't allow it. 4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I want the loathing to 9, I could still be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness. But what would I wear?
This is a holiday classic for me. I watch it every single year. I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, and he really does a great job bringing the Grinch to life. No other actor could have done this in live action other than Jim Carrey. I love the humor in this. I love the set designs. The story overall is great. Does it have its flaws? Of course. But it's just a really enjoyable movie.
Yeah, I mean, I could actually just sit there and probably watch rolls of Jim Carrey just going off in character as the Grinch for hours, because I do think that's incredibly enjoyable, especially when really he's only acting off Max, who's in the room, the dog, who really just kind of stands there and takes whatever he does. So it's really Jim Carrey just carrying the whole scene himself, and he's able to miraculously. And again, I think that does need to be commended. But most importantly, what I want to know is, what do you guys at home think of How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Is this an instant classic in your household? Do you love Jim Carrey's performance? Is this a Kevin problem? Am I completely off base? Do I have no idea what I'm talking about? Most of the guys do seem to think so here, so I kind of get it, But what is your favorite version of the Grinch? Is it the original animated version? Is it this version? Is it that one that came out in like mid-2000s, that 2018, that no one really talks about? I don't think it's that one, but if it is, let me know what you guys think. But with that all being said, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. My name is Kevin. That's Adam, John, and Julie. We are your Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. I'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search for Real Movie Guys, it should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.